Welcome back to the Credit Repair Show with your host, the credit doctor, Angelo McCutcheon, coming to you with another quick video on the credit repair process. And we have to go live on TikTok as well. So let's get that set up. But as you come into the room, make sure you give us a shout out. Give us some likes, give us some thumbs up. We got some information that's hot off the press. Look, we got some more information that's hot off the press concerning debt collectors. There are more. The CFPB have sued some more debt collectors, and they're trying to get them now as a judgment to no longer collect debts anymore. So we got to talk about this hot right off the press about debt collectors being sued by the government, and now the government is acting that they no longer practice debt collection in this country anymore. We're going to get into the news. We're going to get into it. Give some people to come on, time to come on into the room. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on TikTok, you need to get this information. We're talking about debt collectors, those people who call you, harass you, lie to you, try to scare you to making debts. We got some good information on some of them getting ready to be shut down. And I got the names of them right here in this article. You may be familiar with some, you may not be, but they're, being asked to no longer collect debts anymore. And that means that's less debt collectors to harass you, abuse you, send you collection letters. You know how it is, but you know what it is here on the Credit Repair Show. We're going to give you the information that you need, always encouraging you, letting you know that you do not have to live with bad credit. There is something you can do about it. When you follow us, follow me, we're giving you the game. We're giving you the information on how to repair your credit, how to deal with debt collectors, how to deal with the credit bureaus, how to deal with the original creditors, how to write dispute letters, how to send them out, all that good stuff, just because you're following us. So give us some likes, give us some thumbs up. You know how it is. The more you interact with us, the more we can give you more information, more times we can come on. If you're not following us yet, please follow us. If you're on TikTok, hit the follow button. So every time, we go live, you get the information. Facebook, definitely follow us on Facebook, YouTube. You know what it is. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. So every time we go live, you can get the notification. Of course, if you want to make any comments, you can definitely ask your questions, anything concerning credit, student loans, any of that good stuff. We're going to answer all those questions on how to deal with that on tonight. We're not even going to be on here long. Not even going to be here long. We just want to give you the information of what's going down. So again, live right off the press. Let me read it to you. Live right off the press. And when I get this information, I got to share it with you guys. So I'm always up on the latest news, laws, things concerning credit. We're always trying to give you the information. So the CFPB, which is known as the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is a part of the government that oversees the credit bureaus, oversees the debt collectors, that oversees the original creditors, look at what's going on right now. So the title says CFPB and the New York Attorney General shut down debt collection ring. Shutting them down, as Public Enemy says, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. All right. So it says companies and individuals use social media to smear consumers and threaten them with imprisonment. So they were just breaking all type of laws. But let's get into it. All right. So let's go. We're going to read and we're going to talk a little bit. So here's what the article says. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, known as the CFPB, in partnership with the New York Attorney General, filed a proposed stipulation judgment in federal court to settle its case against a debt collection enterprise and its owners and managers. And let's stop right there. 2000, I believe it was 2015, the same CFPB and the New York State Attorney General sued this organization or these sets of debt collectors. They sue them, and now 5 years, 6, 7 years later, it going back and forth to court. It looks like now they're going to win this lawsuit, and this is what they're asking if they win the lawsuit. Okay, that's what we're going to get into. All right. So they filed a proposed stipulate judgment in federal court to settle its case against this debt collection enterprise. The judgment would order all participants in the scheme based in upstate New York to exit the debt collection market after their history of deception and harassment. Now, if those of you who've been following me for years have heard me talk about how they break the law all the time, how they manipulate and try to scare you into paying debts, how they just constantly send you things that is actually false. Somebody said, Facebook, hello there. Your name didn't come up. Let me know who you are, or click on that link that says StreamYard and let me know who you are that's in the room. All right, just give me your first name. That's all I need, so I know who's saying hello to me. All right. Okay, so let's keep reading. So it says what they're asking them to do is exit the debt collection market after their history of deception and harassment. Their debt collection companies will also be shuttered and required to pay a total of $4 million in penalties. Hey, Calvin Glover, what's up, my brother? What's up? What's happening? Thanks for coming into the room. Hey, yeah, my ex-client right there, Matrix. How you doing? Okay, let me keep reading. I appreciate you guys. Now, this is what they said. It is illegal for debt collectors to orchestrate smear campaigns using social media to exhort or extort consumers into paying up, said the CFPB director. Our action with the New York Attorney General bans the ringleaders of this operation from the industry to stop further misconduct. Hey, what's up? Bishop Vega is in the house. What's up, my good brother? Good to hear from you. Tell your wife we said hello. And let me keep reading. And again, the title, for those of you who are just coming into the room, the title is The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the New York Attorney Shuts Down Debt Collection Ring. And this is what we're looking into. All right, because this is going to be important for those of us who are working on helping people clean up their credit, or if you clean up your credit on your own. Tawanda Williams, good evening to you as well. Good evening to you as well. So, what do we read? Okay, this debt collection operation used illegal and deceptive tactics to prey on consumers, and now they are paying the price for the harm they cause, said Attorney General Lita James. Predatory debt collectors make their profit by targeting hard-working consumers and then illegally saddle them deeper into debt. These debt collectors use harassing calls, phone calls, and false threats to coerce consumers to pay. Not only is that illegal, it's also downright shameful. This is what the government is saying. Today's action should send a strong message to debt collectors nationwide that they will not hesitate to use the full force of the law to hold them accountable if they hurt consumers. Can I get some likes for that? Can I get some thumbs up for that? All right, we're giving it to you, right? Because I keep telling you guys, this is what they're doing, these debt collectors, what they're doing. And there's nothing wrong to file a complaint with the Attorney General in your state, file a complaint with the CFPB, because if enough people keep doing it, they will look into these matters and they will file lawsuits to shut these companies down. Now, let's look at the names of these companies that being forced to shut down. The defendant companies are JPL Recovery Solutions, Regency One Capital, ROC Access Solutions, which I've dealt with them, which does business as API Recovery Solutions, and Northern Information Services. Listen, we've targeted them for false reporting information. Also, Another company called Check Security Associates, which does business as Warner Location Services and Pinnacle Location Services and Orchard Payment Processing Systems. All these companies, these debt collectors. Another one called Keystone Recovery Group, Blue Street Access Partners. The individual defendants are owners Christopher D. Ray and Scott Croce and Susan Croce. So these are the managers of these debt collection companies. So they went after everybody, the companies, and they went after top dogs that's running these companies, as well as Brian Koziel and Mark Gracie, who acted as managers of some or all of the companies. Now let's get into what they've been doing, right? So the companies are interrelated collection businesses based out of a single location in Gettysville, New York. That's where they all located, but they do business across the country, but this is just where they're located at. The debt came from high interest personal loans. They came from payday loans. They came from credit cards and other sources. The network then attempted to collect debts from about 293,000 consumers, generating a gross revenue of approximately $93 million between 2015 and 2020. Between 2015 and 2020, trying to collect debts that will total up to $93 million. You see why the debt collection business is a big industry? I keep telling folks they make millions of dollars because they buy low and they go after the whole amount. All right. The CFPB and the New York Attorney General alleged that the network used deceptive and harassing methods, violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Consumer Financial Protection Act. Specifically, the complaint alleges that the owners, managers, and companies use the following illegal tactics to collect debts. And let's get into it. Number one, they falsely claim arrest and imprisonment. Now, if you guys have been following me or following some of my videos, I would tell you that sometimes these companies will call you and say, hey, if you don't pay this bill, we're going to arrest you. We're going to send the cops to your job and arrest you, or we're going to send the cops to your home and arrest you. Now, I've been saying that for years, is what they're doing. And now the government is actually putting it out there that this is what they have been doing. All right, so falsely claimed arrest and imprisonment. The collection companies threatened people with arrest and imprisonment if they did not make payments. In fact, and I keep telling you guys this, in fact, people are not subject to arrest or imprisonment for failure to pay debts. You know how many times I have to tell people that when they come and say, hey, I got a phone call, and they said they was going to arrest me or they was going to send somebody. What do I do? What do I do? And I'm constantly telling people, you cannot be arrested for failure to pay debts. You cannot be arrested. Only you can be sued in court if that's the case, but arrested. So again, they were taking advantage of people who didn't know the law, didn't know their rights, telling them that they would be arrested. And sometimes they would call the person's parents, and then their parents would tell their child, hey, I got a call, and they said they're going to arrest you if you don't pay. They do all of that to put pressure on you to pay debts that you may not even owe. So that's number one. Number two, they lied about legal action. What does that mean? So it says here the companies falsely threaten people with legal action, including wage garnishment and property seizures. In reality, the network never sought or obtained any legal judgment. Now, I used to tell people this all the time. I used to get some pushback when I say, hey, part of the law says if a company threatens to sue you, that's a violation if they really planning on not carrying it out. If they're just saying that to scare you, that's a violation. So people push back, say, well, how will you actually know? If they're not going to sue you, how can you tell? They could say that, meaning that they're really going to sue you. Yeah, but if they don't, it's a violation of your rights. And here are examples that the government, not me now the government is actually proving what I've been saying, because they're charging these companies for doing this. So these companies falsely threaten people with legal action, including wage garnishment and property seizures. In reality, the network never sought or obtained any legal judgment. Now, let me say this. The majority, if a company is going to sue you, if a debt collector, a creditor is going to sue you for not paying the debts, typically they're just going to do that. 9 out of 10 times, they will not tell you they're going to sue you or anything like that. They'll just do it. So when you have people, companies or debt collectors say, hey, we're going to take you to court, we're going to do that, 9 out of 10 times, they're probably just trying to scare you to pay. All right, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So they falsely claimed arrest and imprisonment. They also lied about suing, the consumer in court. Number 3, they inflated and misrepresented debts amounts owed. Now, how many of us can look to that and say, yeah, I know I owe Capital One 500, but these debt collectors saying I owe 800 now, or 900, or 1,000. Yeah, so they inflated these numbers to make even more money off of you. So look what it says here: inflated and misrepresented debts amount owed. The defendants lied about debts amount owed to convince people that paying the amounts they actually owed represented a substantial discount. To press people even further, collectors said it was the offers will only be available for a short period of time. You ever get those collection letters, right? And then those letters, they say, hey, we're collecting on a debt. You owe $1,500, but we will give you a discount and only say if we can settle this for 500, then that'll be good. And then you say, oh, 1,500, only 500, I save $1,000. In reality, in most cases, you only really owed $500, but they inflated it to convince you or make you think that you was getting a discount. See how wicked they can be? Do you see how wicked these debt collectors can be? Right? So this group of debt collectors that's being sued by the government, right? They got caught with their hand in a cookie jar. The next thing, they created, number 4, they created smear campaigns. What does that mean? Using social media and other methods, the collectors pressured people to pay by contacting and disclosing the debts to the immediate and distant family members, grandparents, in-laws, ex-spouses, employers, work colleagues, landlords, Facebook friends, and other known associates. The network did this even after collectors were told by victims to stop contact. Victim described these tactics as emotional terrorism. Let's unpack that a little bit, because this is, again, everything I've been saying and proclaiming to you guys. I love it when the government comes in and shut down these debt collectors and use the same languages that I've been using to educate you guys, to encourage you guys about what's going on. And that's why you must continue to fight these debt collectors. Never give up. Continue to fight these debt collectors. And again, when it comes to cleaning up your credit, it's not an overnight thing. You didn't mess it up overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. It is a process. I always tell people it took me close to 2 years to take my scores from the low 400 to the 800, right? And that was 15 years ago, right? So now, as I keep it around 700, high 600s, mid 700s, it's always a battle, right? It's always a battle. But again, knowing what to do and how to deal with these debt collectors changes the game. Once you know how, it changes the game. So let's unpack that. They was using social media Now, people say, can they use social media? As of last year, yes, they have the right to use social media. And if you saw my last video, if you watched my last video on YouTube or Facebook, I told you that there were some stipulations when it comes to debt collectors and how they can use social media. So if they contact you through Facebook, it has to be private, it has to be as in a messenger. If it's Instagram, it has to be in your DM, right? If it's TikTok, it has to be in a direct message. They can't not or they cannot contact you on your feeds where everybody can see it. That's a violation of your rights. So they can't make it public. They can't contact you public where everybody can see it. And they said, hey, we're a debt collector. We're trying to, you have to pay your debts. We're reaching out to you because you owe. No, if they do that where people can see it, it is a violation of your rights and you can sue them. So these debt collectors thought they can get away with it. They was actually, I told you, even though the law comes down and says they can't do these things, there's always a group of debt collectors who will violate your rights, who will think they can get away with it and will try it. And will try it. Always a group. There's some that will obey the laws, but there's some be like, forget that. I'm trying to get this money, so I'm gonna do whatever I can to scare the consumer into paying up. So they use social media, right, to pressure people to pay. And guess what? By contacting and disclosing the debts to their immediate, distant family members, grandparents. So they ain't slick. They figure, hey, if I can call your grandparents, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your auntie, your uncle, and let them know I'm trying to collect the debt. And then when they tell you, hey, I got a phone call from a debt collector trying to reach out to you, trying to get in touch with you about a debt they say you owe. They hope that when they do that, it will put pressure on you to say, you know what? I don't want them embarrassing me like that. Let me go and pay this debt so they can stop doing that. No, when you see that happens, and you just know that they're violating your rights. Just know that they're actually violating your rights, and you can file a lawsuit against those companies, particularly after you warn them and tell them to stop doing that, and they keep doing it. And this is what happened here. But they was bold with it, right? Because look at all the people they was trying to contact to scare the consumer, right? So it was your distant family members, it was your grandparents, it was your in-laws. They even went to your ex-spouses, right? They went to your employers, your work colleagues. They even went to your landlords. They was really going crazy with this. Really going crazy. Can I get some thumbs up while I take a drink? Can I get some likes while I take a little sip here? I need you guys to hit that like button, hit that share button. All right. Now let's go. Number 5. They harass people with repeated phone calls. They harass people with repeated phone calls, meaning the collectors repeatedly call people multiple times every day over periods lasting a month or longer. And again, on my last video, I talked about the new laws on how they can contact you now and the number of days they must wait after they talk to you over the phone before they can call you again. Or if they never reach you, the number of times they can actually call you in one 7-day period. All right. So the collectors repeatedly called multiple times every day over a period lasting a month or longer. The network, in fact, instructed its collectors, watch this, to let the person hang up on each call so they can maintain a pretense in their call logs that they were disconnected and then call back as soon as the next day. So you know what they were actually saying? They would say, hey, listen, when you call them and a person seems like they don't want to pay and you frustrate them, let them hang up on you. Because if they hang up on you, we can really put into our logs we got disconnected. And that gives us a right now to call back the next day. And they'll let them do that day after day after day after day. But again, it's a violation. Again, you can file a lawsuit. Again, when you know your rights, it changes the game. So understanding this is very important because these people will work wickedly. And then it says the collectors also use insulting and belittling language and engage in intimidating behavior when calling. Now, you know, just about the back that they can't do that. They can't be cursing you out. They can't be harassing you and things like that. But they, again, these debt collectors do it. But it is a violation. It is a violation. And that's why I'm so glad, again, with our attorneys that we work with, they will sue in a heartbeat. They will sue in a heartbeat for violations. The same way the government is suing these debt collectors, our attorneys will do the same thing for our clients. Right. So think about that in terms of you need any help in cleaning up your credit or maintaining things like that. This is what we provide. Right. And then the last thing, right? And the last thing, it says they failed to provide legal mandated disclosures. What does that mean? The network did not provide people with statutory or required notices, I should say, which details their rights. When individual ask for the notices, some collectors refuse to provide them. Under the Dodd-Frank Act, the CFPB has the authority to take action against institutions or individuals that engage in unfair, deceptive, or abusive acts or practices. So let's unpack that. So, you know, a lot of times when a debt collector calls you, you can say, hey, give me a collection, send me a collection letter so I know exactly what you're talking about. Put it down in writing and send it to me, which is known as a debt validation letter. Some of these debt collectors refuse to do that. And when asked, according to the law, they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to get that to you within 5 days after they talk to you on the phone and you request that information. But they were failing to do it, again, which is a violation. So it falls under the unfair, deceptive, or abusive acts or practices. So the CFPB also has authority over debt collection practices under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. The proposed stipulation judgment filed today, this was done today, right? If ordered, meaning that the judge granted, which I believe he will require that the companies that we mentioned, as well as their owners and senior managers, exit the debt collection market. The defendants also would have to pay a $2 million penalty to the CFPB, which will deposit it into the Victims Relief Fund. I don't know how that works out, but they'll put that in there. So that, my friend, is hot off the press. Information that I think you guys really need to know. And I'm going to try to keep bringing you information like this whenever it comes because it changes the game. And again, these debt collectors, let me name these debt collectors one more time. Let's go back. Let me name these debt collectors. The first one is JPL Recovery Solution. Now, all these operate out of New York, but they operate, most of them, across the country. So you may have seen them if you received a debt collection letter or a phone call. You have, may or may not, but these are the companies right now that they're trying to shut down, which I believe they will end up shutting down once the judge gives the order. So JPL Recovery Solutions, Regency One Capital, ROC Access Solutions, which also does business as API Recovery Solutions, and Northern Information Services. And then there's Check Security Associates, which does business as Warner Location Services. Then there's Pinnacle Location Services, Orchard Payment Processing Systems, Keystone Recovery Group, and Blue Street Assets Partners. These are the companies right here that have been sued by the government, and the government is asking the judge to grant their order for these companies to be shut down immediately and to never do credit or debt collection ever. Be banned for life and force them to pay $2 million in penalties. 4 million in penalties, 2 million as a relief fund for victims. Now, don't ask me how they divide that up over the victims, but they will. All right. So that's what I just wanted to stop by and let you guys know that more debt collection companies are being shut down as we speak, and that is as of May 23rd, 2022. We'll keep you updated on these matters and let you know what the case is. So if any of you guys have any questions for the next 5 minutes, if you have any questions, I'll take that. If not, we'll say goodnight, but we'll give you a chance to, if you have any questions, to pop that in. So remember, you do not have to live with bad credit. There is something you can do about it. Also remember, while I wait for your questions, even if you're watching this as a replay, you can type in your questions. But remember, if you would like to hook up with our attorneys and their monitoring system or monitoring service where they will monitor your credit reports for $24.99 a month. They have an awesome monitoring service. You get all the stuff that everybody else give you. Only the difference is our attorneys will monitor your credit reports, and they will actually look for violations that they can actually file a lawsuit, and they won't charge you a dime. You don't never pay the attorneys for anything. When they file a lawsuit, when they win, they get their fees from whoever they sue. So they never charge you, the consumer, for any money. So if you're interested in that, let me know. We can send you the link for that as well. But I appreciate you guys coming on. You know what we often say, have a blessed day. Whatever you do, stay blessed. What's even more important is that you are a blessing. And when